It's Hal Feldman, MiamiHal, and it's the MiamiHal Real Estate Show. And today, Michael Miller has walked back into the room. Great to see you.
Nice to see you again.
You know, we're going back to our origins. This is how the show started. Michael asked me to come in and talk about real estate as the birth of the Miami Community Newspaper's video empire really was just getting started, right?
Yes, and actually you spent many hours down here, you know, walking us through and still, all right, getting us to the point where we have great production. I want to thank you for your many hours, many days, many months.
My pleasure.
Of support.
My pleasure. It's always about getting good information out to the public. You guys have been doing that for years in the way of newspapers and magazines, and now you got a new empire. Watch out! All the local stations are going to be quaking in their boots.
Well, we are certainly having a good time doing it and connecting with people.
And today, I look out. There are more than 3 cameras here, which is normal. There's a 4th camera, so we're going to quickly tilt over. Hi, Instagram. We're going live on Instagram by yet another camera. So, and we got Howard behind the gear here. So Howard's kicking butt.
Yep.
He's our next Tommy, right?
He is, and he was here about a week or so, and I said, all right, sit down. That day he wound up doing 9 shows. All right, so one way or the other, all right, he's doing it, and he's great, and he's also, besides doing videos, he's going to help us with marketing our different products.
And you were saying that the age average in the building went down about 20 years.
Like 20 years in the last week.
That's great.
And there certainly is a direct connection between these post-pandemic hiring efforts than before, because in a year we only hired 1 person, and I just didn't want to bring somebody new in and unsure of how the environment was going to be. Everybody here has had their injections and their shots, and we're feeling pretty good.
Yeah.
And so,
well, let's turn to some real estate,
okay.
And I'm going to let you drive it when we get going here. But I do want to remind the audience that we have multiple ways in which that you can lob in some questions or comments or whatever, and we'll periodically look up at the screen and hopefully catch those live. If not, if you have a question that we didn't get to, put it into your comments on Facebook or wherever you are, Instagram, and we will come back afterwards and try to answer those for you through text. Anyway, Michael, real estate's crazy. I'm crazy. You're going to try to make some sense of that by steering me toward what you want to know about, because you're the regular human being here.
Yes.
I'm the crazy real estate agent.
When we first started last March, April, I remember you saying that there were months and months and months supply of homes in Pinecrest, Palmetto Bay. It was an extraordinarily amount of supply, and now it's just the opposite.
That is correct.
Right.
So it has turned dramatically the other way, to the point that I can truly say this: it has never happened before where the inventory levels are this low. And
so whatever's driving people to buy, that's wonderful. But here it is, as when I look at homes, let's work off an average home. Let's just do $1 million, where the math is easy.
You think that's average? Okay, we'll use that as an average.
It just has enough.
You're a
zeros.
rich guy, Michael.
Right. Okay, 500,000. I can do the math there. So historically, in Dade County at this time, what is the commission rate that a real estate broker receives for listing your home?
Okay, so great question. There is no law, there's no rule that a commission has to be something, but it is traditionally been a 6% commission for a sale that's done, and it's signed to the listing agent. So, for example, Remax Advanced Real Estate, that's us. We would get a listing agreement together with the seller. We would agree on how we're going to market the property, what price we're going to start at, a number of other terms, and they would sign, I'm going to pay Remax 6%. Now notice it didn't say they're going to pay Hal Feldman, the agent, 6%. They pay Remax the 6%. And then again, traditionally, Remax would then advertise it through the MLS to other agents and brokers.
Multiple listing service
For 3%, essentially half of the 6%.
And what percentage of homes are sold through a real estate broker?
I don't have the exact number, but it's extremely high. I would say that there's probably only 3 to maybe 4% that are done without a broker being involved and without a commission being paid.
And let's say, excluding this real estate phenomenon that's occurring, more or less, what percentage of the homes is sold by the listing agent's office?
Okay, good question, because a lot of people call this double ending, basically getting the entire commission. And most people consider that being the agent that lists, also being the agent that brings a buyer. You're asking questions slightly different. I'm the agent, but RE/MAX happens to have approximately 150 agents at this time that are under one office. So you're saying if somebody else from our office does that. How often does that happen? I would say it's probably close to 15% of the time.
15%.
15% of the time.
And more or less, if an agent lists it, how often is he or she the sellers? Finds a buyer.
Okay. Much lower than the 15%. Because again,
really?
Oh yeah. Yeah. The reality is most people that are listing properties, they consider themselves and they work all the time at being listing agents. When somebody says I'm a real estate agent, they probably mean I'm either a buyer's agent or I'm a lister. I'm a selling agent. And so there are vast differences in the skill set. So
you have a listing agent
yes.
goes out and then it goes to his office, and then the office sends a notice, if you will,
right.
to all the other real estate people that are involved in Dade and Broward.
Correct. That's correct.
Most agents in Miami-Dade County and members of a real estate association.
Yes.
What is that called?
So it's called the Miami Board of Realtors, and it is now basically over the last 10 years, it has accumulated other smaller MLS or associations. And so the Miami Association is huge. And I believe the membership there is somewhere around 60,000 agents.
And is that Miami, Broward? It's
yes.
This region.
Yes, it
but
is.
It still has
region.
the name Miami.
It still has the name Miami, yes, because it's soaked in all the lesser.
That's a trade organization.
It is.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So let's say you go out and you're a listing agent. You go and you list it. Of course, you try to find a buyer, maybe, but if it goes into the multiple listing service, it's going to get sold, and most of the time, it's sold by another office.
Most of the time with another office,
okay.
Correct. Because again, if I was to list a house and I was a super agent, to consider myself the best agent, down here, I can only give so much vision to that property. I can advertise it on my own website. I could put it into the MLS. I can, go to a street corner and hold up a sign, but I can only do so much. It's amplified to an incredible degree once it's in the multiple listing service, and therefore all of the agents in the area now know about that property, and they're the ones that are most likely to sell.
How are they notified by each of the listings? What occurs? Do they get like a text? Or they just check the book, if you will?
Okay, it was a book way back when, but no, it's not done that way. Agents that have buyers typically have searches that are for each of their individual clients' needs and wants. And so
they
put that into the computer.
Looking for somebody Pinecrest, 5-bedroom,
exactly,
17 bathrooms,
versus somebody in Homestead for a 3-bedroom or downtown. And so each of those are individual searches, and that agent gets alerts to when something matches their client's criteria, as does the direct client. So the computer and the distribution
is the
buyer in this case, right? So let's say instead of me being a listing agent, I have 10 clients. Each of my clients will get results from their search on a daily basis, and I will get an overall result through email of whether or not new properties or properties that were on but came down to the right price point to go out and show property.
Okay, so let's say the home is listed for $500,000. The seller, the selling agents, everybody's good with the price, and you figured out that was the correct price. So and it's at 6%, $30,000.
Okay, we're doing this on a $500,000 property.
Right,
now.
$1 million.
Oh, and $1 million property.
Well,
6%, right? So I did half because I figured I was
whatever
only
one would piss somebody
Let's do the
off
million
more.
because your numbers are right. It's easier.
Okay. So $60,000 commission to find a buyer.
Right.
All right. Now let's talk about from the agent's point. So it's $60,000. It gets split between two offices.
Correct.
Right.
And then the agents get a portion of that split.
And then the office gets a portion of that.
Correct.
Is that more or less split between the office? More or less.
More or less.
Okay.
I mean, depending on the the agent and how much seniority they have at that particular office, and a number of other factors that can range anything from 50% to maybe even as little as 5% that the brokerage is taking.
Depending on if they're doing 500 million a year
exactly.
or 5 million.
Yeah.
Okay.
If I'm doing 500 million a year, I'm finished with the show, Mike. I want to tell you that.
I understand that. We're going to try to help you get there. Howard's going, yes. Okay.
I'm paying Howard too if I get to that level.
So here we are, got $1 million house. All right.
Yeah.
What's the average price in Pinecrest nowadays?
Pinecrest is about 1.2 actually.
Okay. So it's a house. Yeah. And so why does the seller want to pay somebody $60,000 when they might be able to put a sign out themselves?
Okay. Great question. We deal with this all the time. The answer is, does that seller know how to do real estate transactions? And I don't necessarily mean about just marketing. You can put a sign out front in your yard, and what you're going to get are a bunch of people that are going to want to see the house. Do you know how to filter that? Some people actually do want to buy and could actually purchase because they have either financing lined up or they have cash. But the vast majority of people that are going to call off of a sign, you do not want them in your house. So if you're a standard homeowner trying to sell, do you know how to figure out whether or not you're dealing with a real person?
So it is a filtering system.
Oh, it is.
And so, and then nothing would piss a homeowner off like somebody get lowballing them.
Yes.
Right? And that might end the whole conversation.
Right. So look, of course, somebody would love to save $60,000. I would love to save $60,000, but the statistics prove that that's usually not a good move. The reason, I'll give you an example. You're trying to save 6% as a homeowner. Do you know that with agents involved, the sales price is typically, and we're in a non-typical market, is typically 8% higher than if somebody does it on their own?
And why is that?
Why is it? Because you've got professionals that understand how the market should work. They get the paperwork together, and probably most important, the professionals take the emotion out of it. If you're a seller and you do take the challenge and you move along, at some point, your emotion about the house or where you have to go or your inexperience about how to read contracts or something else are going to get the better of you. And you're going to have to say, all right, I just give up. I'll give them the $50,000 they're asking for because of inspections or whatever it is. You give up more and you give a lot of your time and energy and you end up frustrated rather than giving it to a professional, paying what you should be paying, and ultimately ending up with the same amount or slightly more money in your pocket at the end of the day.
That's good to know, to take the frustration out in the filtering system.
Yeah.
And then the buyer might be a little more honest with the broker or an agent than they would with the homeowner.
100%.
Right? Because they don't think the homeowner wants to hear about that the kitchen is lousy, it's not any good, et cetera.
Yeah.
So what do you do with a homeowner that says, listen, my home is worth, $1.3 million because I've looked on Zillow and Reddit and Real.
They've become very educated by looking at online resources that they believe to be accurate. But the reality is, until somebody with professional knowledge comes into your home and truly assesses, is the air conditioning system working? What types of pipes do you have? How old is the roof? What type of roof you have? What's around you? There is no proper way to do that without coming into the home. And these websites don't do that, obviously. They're very good math, but they are no good at valuing an individual home.
So let's say somebody says, listen, I'm going to hire you, Hal, but I have 5 buyers I'm already dealing with, right? What is the term? How do you as a broker and the owner deal with that?
Good. So actually this is coming up more and more because there's such a frenzy. People have to buy a house. And so there's a lot of people that are going directly to a homeowner before the homeowner potentially selects an agent. So there's a way to do an exclusion. And typically what happens is a seller will come to me and say, listen, we've decided we're going to give it to a professional. You're the professional, but we're dealing with family A and family B, and we've been talking to them, and they might still buy the house. So as an agent, I have several options I can give that homeowner. Bless you. The first one is to simply say, listen, if they buy the house, And we give them a time frame. Hey, if family A or family B actually goes through, creates a contract, and buys the home within the next 30 days or 45 days, there's no commission due to us. And I think that's fair. Listen, you're giving me an opportunity to share this with the rest of the world, so to speak, and to try to sell it and earn my commission. But if you've got something that's already on the burner, I'd rather you finish that, and I'm not going to take credit for it. The other way we can do it is that homeowner may be talking to family A and family B, but they're still uncomfortable with the actual contract paperwork and the process. And if I help them with that process, I would work out something far less than the 6% and say, listen, I'm going to take care of you, even if it is family A or family B, but I will take a reduced commission. And it would be significantly reduced from that.
So, and I'm glad you brought that up, because there's a lot of people say, oh, I've been sued, I'm going to represent myself. I go, no, you're not. You really shouldn't do that, because you're immediately at a disadvantage. Right?
Yes, you are.
And so I get it with the homeowner that thinks they can do the sale themselves. All right.
No. And think about this. We have this thing called the internet now. So everybody is informed, right?
Yes.
Everybody thinks they know everything. And so let's take the example of the we'll call them an adventurous homeowner who says, I'm going to save that 6%. They put the sign out front. They start answering all the calls. They do everything. They have somebody come out miraculously. They like the home. And then that buyer is going to offer them some amount of money. Do you think the buyer understands that there are no agents involved? Do you think that buyer isn't going to use the very fact, hey, you're not going to have to pay 6%, so I'm going to offer you this, which is less than what the property's worth with representation. So you're already chipping away at that 6%, and you've got all that work ahead.
And that would be a normal thought process.
Yeah,
you're asking $1 million for it. You don't have to pay somebody 6%. So here's what I'm going to do. And so let's talk, if we could, about the fluctuating prices, mostly up nowadays.
Oh, there's no fluctuation. They're just going sky high. That's the reality of today.
So I got a couple. Why is there such the market so hot? And two, how long is that going to last where so many people are coming here or buying?
Okay, it's the $1 million question, which just while I was saying that went to $1.5 million question.
Yes.
I wish I could give you a straight answer on that. And I'm going to tell you that for months now, I have been trying to understand and read the tea leaves of what's really going on. And I have been wrong more than I've been right in the last couple of weeks. And I'm going to expand on that in a few seconds. Not only that, but I felt like, geez, am I losing touch with the market? So I have a lot of friends who are at RE/MAX and at several other brokerages who are senior agents and have been doing this just as long or even longer than I have. And we've had conversations, what's going on with this market? And I have to tell you, none of the people I'm speaking to really can understand what the full dynamics are. It's a mystery as to what's going on. I'm going to give you a great example of that. So I was called by a homeowner in Manglewood. We're selling our house. You've got a great reputation. We want to interview. So head on out there, do my interview. Thought I nailed it. Thought I did great. And I went with inflated numbers from what it would have been pre-pandemic. And I said, this is what I believe that the property should be listed at. And the reason why it should be listed here is because I don't think it's going to appraise any higher than X. Okay. They interviewed a few other people. And one of them happened to be somebody else from my office. And I have complete respect for that person. And they went in and told the family that he could list the house $50,000 higher than I was going to. And that he thought that with proper negotiation, they could get a deal done higher than I had suggested. So what did the homeowner do?
Before you answer, the information that the other agent had brought to the client, it's based upon the same information.
It is.
Prior, and then, right?
Yes, it is.
You look at all the appraisals, whatever it is.
Yeah,
right. Okay.
But a good agent is going to do some homework before they arrive at the house and have a general idea. Listen, if the house is in poor condition, this is what I think it's worth. If it's in excellent condition, it's that. And then on the spot, if they're really good at what they do, they go, this is the number I'm going to present to them.
So the homeowner is now looking at the figure you told them that you think you can get, and the other agent who said we can get
Also in my office, very good.
$50,000 more.
Yeah.
And so the husband and wife are looking at each other. Well,
Guess,
what do you want to do?
Well, that was an easy choice.
We can get that car or not get the car. Right?
Yeah, we can not get the car and use Hal, or we can use the other agent and get the car. So that was a pretty easy choice for them. It personally hurt me, and I'm going to tell you briefly why. I have been a fan and friend of Manglewood for years. I go to all their events. I don't live there. I know probably half the people in Manglewood.
And this is 67th Avenue. And
Manglewood is in Palmetto Bay between 144th and 152nd,
yep.
and just west of Coral Reef Elementary.
Okay.
Is this zone.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yes.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. So I really thought, not only did I do a good job at the listing presentation, I'm like, I've got this reputation, so it's got to be mine. No, they gave it to the other agent. I'm not bitter at all. Yes, I am a little bit. But here's the thing that just absolutely blew not only my mind, but the other agent's mind. So now I'm going to give numbers because I kept it generic before. Manglewood homes pre-pandemic in average condition were selling somewhere around 550 to 650 with a 4-3 configuration, which this house is. Do you know what the property was listed for?
No idea.
The property was listed for $930,000.
Oh my goodness.
And in the, I don't want to get into all the exact details. The listing price is public, so that's fine. They got an offer. The offer was extremely strong, and it came with, if it appraises below by a significant amount of money, we're still going to take money out of pocket and can complete the sale. That's, so that's a very strong offer. And it wasn't like, hey, if it's $10,000 below, we'll still move forward. It was a significant amount of money. And so I congratulated the agent, again, a little jealous, but do you know that it appraised above the contract price? My mind is completely blown. And there's another agent who lives in Manglewood itself, and her mind's blown. We are just lost as to why things are appraising as high as they are, and where does this end? It does have to end. So
so the price is based on other similar purchases in those areas.
Oh yes,
right.
Yes.
So, and is there a connection, or what is the connection between a smaller house in that area that's appraised at, I'm just going to use a figure, $300 a foot, when the house is twice the size? Is it therefore less than, or more than, or the same?
It's less than. It's typically less than. So it's very difficult because there's so many knobs and adjustments that are going on. But you can imagine, if you can live in a very nice neighborhood and you only need a 3-bedroom, 2-bath home, you're paying more per square foot because you're in that nice neighborhood. Yep. When you get to a 5-bedroom home with, let's say, double the square footage, you're still in that nice neighborhood. It doesn't get any better, right? But the price per square foot typically is lower.
Okay. So
because you still only have one kitchen.
Yes. Did the
X
house,
number of bathrooms.
Was there a closing on the house yet?
It is very close to closing, as I understand it. But again, all the agents involved, those that lost the listing, those that got the listing, and those that are just around it are flabbergasted.
In this particular case, you said, this is what I think the house is worth, what it can sell for. Yeah. The other agent said, I think that you can get 50,000 more. And then it was listed at that price.
Yes.
And so now it came in above the
appraisal came in above, but the contract price, it will continue to be the contract price. We were all thinking the appraisal is going to be lower. Is it going to be too low that the contract will fall apart? Not the case at all.
So I understand that the interest rates are low, and the reality is 1 point is per $100,000 is more or less how much lower?
I don't have that number in front of me right now, but
it's around $100.
Yeah, that's correct.
About right?
That's correct.
Okay. So you look at it and you go, all right, so if the rate is a little lower, so it's $400 or $500 a month less.
Right. That's exactly what is fueling part of this frenzy, is that, oh, the interest rates are so low, I don't care if I spend X amount more. But eventually, just like we had in 2008, somebody's going to care, because these values are inflated. We don't know how inflated, but they are definitely inflated.
So
And when we come back down to earth, some people are going to get significantly hurt.
So we're unfortunately or fortunately old enough to remember these cycles. All right.
Yes.
Just a few blocks from here, houses back in 2008 were in the $100,000 range. There's now one, and we've watched it go up, and now it's up. A house with a little bit of work, it's about 800 square feet. They're asking $850,000 for.
Crazy.
It's like, huh?
So you and I, we can talk about real estate. We can talk about the stock market. We can talk about cryptocurrency. We can talk about how people are interacting with each other as we come out of this pandemic. People psychologically have changed. And the question is this a new norm that's going to continue? Or do we kind of get back more toward the center of the pendulum swing? And I believe it's the latter. I think we have to come back to the center of the pendulum swing. And people that are buying right now potentially are going to get hurt if they don't hold those homes for a number of years.
So right now, online grocery store sales dropped 10%. We have 5 minutes left. Dropped 10%.
I saw it.
Okay, you saw it?
Howard's very good. I can see out of the corner of my eye. He's awesome. He's going to keep me right on time. 30 minutes, folks, I promise.
So it dropped 10%.
Yeah.
Because people are out shopping, right? And so people's habits are starting to shift again.
Yes.
And so they shifted during the pandemic. And we ordered like crazy. We never even looked at the prices of the food. It was just like, well, we don't have to go. So now we're saying, okay, well, now we can go and return to some family unit, all right, and have, a dinner together. I promise tonight we're going to have dinner together, all right? So what you're suggesting is at some point, this upward massive swing is going to start getting balanced and perhaps coming back a little bit.
I got to believe it's going to happen because it's happened historically. Maybe I'm wrong, but historically, you got to come back. Pendulum can't swing above 90 degrees, can it?
No. So, but it is who's going to keep moving to Miami to pay these prices? All right. How's that going to happen? I know that Home Depot and Lowe's are doing great. Pool business up 20% from last year, right? That's one of the reasons, not like chlorine. But at some point, people that have a lot of money are going to go, wait a second, I want a bigger house. I want this, right?
Yeah.
Right. I was in a house the other day. It was just like, I was stunned how much money it was.
Watch this one. I'm going to take us away from real estate a little bit, but it'll come right back to center. I listened to a technology podcast, some incredibly brilliant minds, and they were talking about what our immediate future is. And of course, travel is up now. People are booking flights. People are trying to get out and have some sense of normalcy and leisure time. And they said, what happened after the stock market crash? We had the roaring 20s. Guess what? It's 2021, and we are coming out of a pandemic where there is this euphoria of, hey, I've been pent up for 14 months, and now I'm going to have this exciting time to kind of celebrate the fact that I can, at times, take off a mask and start to be more normal. How many years of a roaring 20s might we have this time around 100 years later? And so that's really what we're trying to gauge in real estate too, because the roaring 20s of the 1920s, they don't exist today, right? We've been through several other cycles.
Yes. I do want to do a shout out for the people that are having some social emotional problems right now. We know that during the pandemic, a lot of people were pent up, and now that a lot of people are getting over it, there's a post-traumatic stress syndrome that's sitting in. I urge you to call 211 if you're having an issue. Speak to a trusted person, and National Association for Mental Illness, Miami office, and you go online and find them. They'd be glad to direct you to some help. Don't do anything stupid. Speak to your friends about how you're feeling, and you'll get to the other side of this.
Listen, that's great. And I think we should wrap up on that because I'm in real estate. I deal with all different types of people every day, and I can see the difference. Some people are okay, but a lot of people are struggling. And I think I didn't know about the 211 number. That's fabulous. Yes. And I appreciate you sharing that with everybody, especially me, because I may have to use it sometimes.
The other day, somebody asked me, "How you doing, Michael?" And I said, "I want to know." It's in all due respect, right? I said, is bipolar one word or two words? And that's what a lot of us are going through, just like this.
Yes.
All right. So you're not alone out there. All right. And there's a friend waiting to listen and to talk with you.
Michael, thanks so much. It's just like old times.
My pleasure. And thanks you for all your help.
Oh,
And
absolutely.
we're going to say something nice to Howard over there. Howard, way to go, man.
Howard's our new captain, and he's doing great. If you have real estate dreams, get in touch with me. If you need anything about the community, this is your man. Community Newspapers is awesome, and we'll see you next week.
Bye, folks. Bye, Instagram. Thank you.